I think that was really, really powerful.
Thank you.
So what were some of the surprising insights for you? Like when you were writing the book, what was the things where you're like, wow, I did not expect that?
Right. So, a couple things come to mind with that, but interestingly enough, they're not so much insights or discoveries as much as they are kind of more remembrances, right? And me seeing greater examples of some of the principles or some of the practices that I've already seen in the 25 years that I've been in this field, right? So one was the disconnect, or is the disconnect between, I'll say, power and culture. So here's what I mean when I say that. Many executives or leaders often possess kind of a master of the universe mindset when it comes to driving business outcomes. They are in charge, they are moving full speed ahead with strategy. I shouldn't say strategy, but they're moving full ahead with revenue, with operations. But they often fail to apply that same sense of their own personal level of influence and control over actually shaping the organizational culture. It's almost like they view culture as something that simply already exists, something that they have to navigate rather than something that they have to actively cultivate. And while they readily take ownership of financial performance, market expansion, operational efficiencies, they often underestimate their own power in defining and reinforcing the culture that underpins all of that work. So that was one kind of remembrance, right? The other is a shift from strategy to tactics. So a striking realization, and one that became particularly evident to me in my dissertation research, is that leaders today have become increasingly tactical and far less strategic. There is a relentless focus on execution, on checking off task lists, on immediate outputs. But what seems to be missing is that intentional pause that I talked about earlier, that intentional reflection, time to, as a group, individually and as a leadership group, reflect, time to engage in meaningful dialogue and to align actions with a deeper purpose and identity. So leaders are so consumed with the doing that they really rarely stop to consider who they're being or who they want their organization to be. So this book challenges leaders to break that cycle, to step back, reflect, and engage in the kinds of conversations that are essential really for true transformation. Because without that conscious effort, organizations will continue to just drift, right? Reacting to what's happening in the moment instead of leading from a place of intentionality. Yeah, so those are the two kind of pattern remembrances that came up as I was going through this process.
I love that. That's far more powerful than the insights. That's awesome. Now, just very quickly before we go on with the interview here, just wanted to mention to everyone,